beautiful people. Welcome in, welcome in. So, as you could tell by the title of this video, this is a brand new introduction. If you've been following me for a little while, you probably have noticed that I have changed the name of this community. We are Be More Balanced. And that's exactly what we're going to get into today. I'm going to get into why it's called Be More Balanced, what that even means, and a little bit about my journey and how I got to this point. So let's get right into it. So just a bit of a formal introduction. My name is Jalen. My name is Jalen Porter, and this community it's been a long time coming. And so I'm excited to just share with you why we even exist, why this exists. So let's get right into it. So being more balanced, I first want to start off with why balance, right? Some may say, okay, well, that's a no-brainer. I understand what balance means. I understand what being in alignment means. I understand those things, but I want us to understand and overstand the thing, okay? So the reason in which I've chosen balance is because if you're like me, and if you come to this video, you have probably come to a crossroads of sorts of knowing yourself well enough to know that I want this to come into alignment and I want this to come over to me and I want to meet it in the middle, okay? And one person that I admire and I tap into pretty often, Seven Bomar, talked about balance, and his definition of balance, it really struck something in me for it to be a mantra of mine, which is balance is not perfection. That's not what we're looking for outside. Balance is you're taking let's say the negatives, for lack of a better word, and you're taking the positives of oneself or your reality, and your positives should just raise up and outweigh those negatives or those cons just a bit for you to be in balance. Because at the end of the day, we're human. You're not perfect, you feel me? We can do our very best, but we are angels on earth, baby. And this realm, it can get a little chaotic, so sometimes what looks like the right route to take isn't always the best route for somebody else. And so that's how you find your balance, your equilibrium, okay? And another reason why balance has become my mantra is because I mentioned a word called, or a term, or a place called the crossroads, right? And if you're here in this space, you probably are interested or like or study metaphysics and occult sciences. That is one of my favorite places to be in. It's something that I've dove into the last 10 years, and it's life. It's not just a subject of study. It is taking spirituality, bringing it down and into the mix with the material realm and making it practical, right? As something that I've taken much time in my journey to reach to this place, and it'll be a continuous place, okay? So the crossroads, if you're not familiar, a lot of people, when you hear that term, you get a little spooky. You're like, well, what's she talking about? You talking about ghosts? You talking about skeletons? You talking about death? What are we talking about exactly? We talking about train tracks, all of the above, okay? And the crossroads is the place when we're talking about a spiritual terms, we're talking beyond the veil, but it's also the place where magic occurs, where transformation can happen, where you can alchemize a thing, okay? So the reason why balance is so important in this community, the reason why the crossroads is a point which is so pivotal in this topic that I'm speaking on, is because there is so much going on in our reality, in our world, in this timeline, and whatever timeline you're on, there are things happening for good or for bad, the negative or the positive. We don't have to make it a thing right now, but they happening, okay? And so when we want to come into alignment, we're talking about balance, and balance looks different for everybody, okay? I've been on this journey of sovereignty and resiliency for what it looks like for me. And I'll be honest, there were points where I'm looking over at somebody else and I'm looking at such and such over here, and I'm like, I tried the thing, it ain't resonating with me, right? When we're talking about balance, we might be talking about, okay, a balanced diet, a balanced work-life balance, a balanced romantic relationship, a balanced relationship when it comes with our parents, right? Balance, okay? And it's not gonna look the same for everybody, even in communication. I was just talking to my dad today, right? He wasn't hearing me, I wasn't really hearing him. But at the end of the day, can you meet me in the middle and can we come to balance on a thing? We don't have to agree. Sometimes we even disagree. We can agree to disagree, but it's a balanced place we're trying to come to. So the reason why I bring the crossroads into this space and this conversation is because being more balanced looks like you've come to the crossroads within your own inner realm, your own inner sanctum, and you're like, okay, I like that I do this. I wish I could add this, but I'm not really sure where and how that looks like. And that's okay. So this journey that we're all on, and why I want to bring and shine light onto the situation, is because when I was, and as I was growing through my own awakening, spiritual awakening, and looking for how I can attain my own wholeness and sovereignty, putting other people's journey on a pedestal, it just doesn't add up, because they're not me. They're not me from a astrological aspect. They're not me from a numerology space. They're not me from a experiential place. And yes, we all have similarities, but at the end of the day, we're all different. The blueprint that I make for myself to come into balance and alignment, it's not gonna look for you. But today, and why I'm doing this and why I'm going to share with you a little bit about my journey intimately, is because hopefully there may be one gem that you take that you can add to your recipe of balance, so that when you finish baking your cake, you put it in the oven and it come out, it looks beautiful for you and for your moment in time and for the reality that you're living in, not for you to copy what I'm doing, okay? So with that being said, if you followed me and you've looked at a couple of my videos, or you follow me on Instagram, you may or may not know that I've lived in different places in different spaces. I've lived in different cities in the United States. I've lived in different countries, and from a very young age, I've had the opportunity to travel the world, okay? And from a very young age, I knew something was off. It wasn't giving. I was like, the United States of America, and this is literally a 10-year-old's thoughts. The United States of America, sis, something's not adding up. The balance, the from capitalism to colonization to I ain't learning nothing in school to why these folks stressed out to the American dream is an illusion. I knew all of this very early, and so from a very young age, I was like, all right, when it's my time to shine and get up out of here, we're gonna make something shake. You feel me? Like, because it's just not giving what the girls told me it was gonna give when I'm growing up. And again, I'm 10, and I'm like, none of the adults in my world, and this is not a jab to my parents or elders, but nobody in the direct space of our society, to me, was making enough strides and changes for balance. So I came at a crossroads at a very early age. And so what I decided was, I said, you know what, look, we about to see what it's looking like overseas. We about to see what it's looking like across the pond. You feel me? So I did just that. I lived in other places. I explored. And what I found was that these places and spaces very, very beautiful. But one thing I want to say, and I learned a whole lot, and I give reverence to those places and spaces, especially from an astrocartography perspective, which we can get in a whole nother conversation, is that everybody was dealing with the same shit. And what I mean by that is, in every single one of those places and spaces, I've lived in Belize, I've lived in Jamaica, my family from Guyana, I've visited Spain, I've visited Germany. Like, everybody was dealing with some form of globalization, exploitation, colonization, gentrification, okay? And I'm like, hold up, you telling me I'm living in the bush, I'm come to the bush, and y'all still dealing with these things? I said, oh, hell nah. Okay, so I came back into my own being, and one of my favorite goddesses that I've always come back into alignment with, and when we're talking about balance and a crossroads, is my girl, Ma'at. Math. Ma'at speaks about the material realm and the spiritual realm coming into balance. What she does is she weighs your heart up on the scale next to the feather. And when you come to her, your heart better be light. And what I realize is that in our society and in the places and spaces, especially in the spiritual community, and if you tapped into this channel, I'm sure you've had an inkling or an urging to see if there was something different. And I have friends, and it's been myself, and I know people who have traveled to different places and spaces and even lived elsewhere, but always finding themselves coming back home. And when I came back to the United States, there was something I was able to appreciate. There were many things I was able to appreciate, and there were still things that I felt like it was lacking. But at the end of the day, and the reason why this being more balanced mantra and mindset stuck with me is that everybody is looking for the same thing. We're all still manifesting and mastering the same things, and it doesn't matter where you live, okay? Everybody still got to master the same keys. So I came back home in myself, because home is wherever you go. It's not necessarily one place. And those issues that the 10-year-old Jalen knew that she was going to have to face, thinking that it was going to be in another place, I realize at this big age now that we are all holding ourselves accountable to our own version of balance, sovereignty, and alignment. So I don't want to make this video too long, and I appreciate you for tuning in and tapping in for yourself. This is the journey that we're on. This is the journey that I've always been on, and I realize that it's going to be a continuation of life, is realizing that in this illusion of Maya, the world that we live in, this realm and this space that we live in, it's not supposed to be one thing. It's not just the spirituality. It's not just the material, the capitalistic society that we are all a part of, myself included. It's how are we gonna bring this thing into balance? How am I gonna meet you at the crossroads, look you in the eye and say, I'm doing my part? And so this is me here doing my part, giving you the space, giving you the opportunity to communicate with me and let me know what balance looks like for you. And even if you don't know what balance looks like for you yet, maybe even if it's just one person in one gym that I offer, you can take that and make it your own. This is about coming into balance and coming into alignment and declaring that sovereignty is our birthright, because in every place in the world, we're affected by the balance we either have or don't have. And this is a place where it ain't even gotta be that serious. Like, I'm a person that likes to keep it light, even though this topic can get a little dark. But let's shine light. Ooh, I love you. Y'all see how this looking? Let's shine light on the fact that balance is gonna look different for you than it is gonna be for me. Balance is gonna look different for you than it is gonna be for the next man. And balance is gonna look the same for what we have to bring to the table in every corner of the earth. Wherever you coming from, we all have a responsibility to ourselves first. So with that being said, you know what to do. I appreciate you for coming this far, for me and for you. Like and share this video with somebody you know can relate to this, whether they be looking for a different place, a different city, a different country to be in, and right now they are just looking for balance. That's really what we are looking for, is balance, because your girl's still gonna live everywhere I want to live. I'm still gonna travel and come back home and tap in. But if you ain't right within, shout out to my girl Lauren Hill, you know what I'm saying? If you're not balanced within, not right or left, but balanced, then it won't even make a difference where you are. So with that being said, I appreciate you. Be more balanced, and wherever you are, start exactly where you are. And I look forward to tuning in with you next time. We got a whole lot in store, and I'm looking forward to you. Be more balanced.